Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War event of the Peasants are Revolting, in which the Angry Mob is added to the game, as well as Holy Saint Astra in the event key drop table. Sorry that this video is coming out a day late. Mainly had Thanksgiving preparations the other day. Also, happy Thanksgiving everyone, or at least soon. But anyways, let's get into the video. So, first things first, Angry Mob, it's Tradestone, brown-red. As far as what you would end up using this brown-red tradestone for, you'd mainly use it on Lava Elemental earlier on in the game. Later on in the game, you'd use it on your Fire Mantle, as well as any of the mythics that would end up using the tradestone. As far as the troop itself, it is relatively underwhelming. It just destroys a bunch of gems, burns a random enemy, and then either summons another Angry Mob or deals damage to the first enemy. This could potentially be okay in that it can constantly keep massing itself, and you basically just keep having a team that just keep replenishing it. If you put it in something like second slot, you can just constantly have a double first slots of just angry mobs going over and over again. Biggest issue though is it's generally outclassed by something like Nobbin Brothers, which is already a very similar concept to it, exact same color, exact same mana cost, except it has better traits and better overall ability. And there's just a lot of really good brown reds out there that makes this kind of not really that worth it. There's also been the really useful troop that ended up coming in the other week, in which we can go and use all of the gold on the board and just basically keep destroying it with the Egg Thief. So, not much of a need for Angry Mob, literally the week after they already added a really solid board destroy. So, unfortunately, this troop's kind of outclassed by last week's troop, essentially. So, not much of a need to bring this out. It is only an ultra rare, so it's easy to obtain, but so was the other one. So, most people probably still have that from last week. So, Angry Mob, not too useful, unfortunately. So, on to next things. Well, let's go take our tribute. Shiny tribute. So, let's go into the event page. We have 10% to all, oh, that's not the right one. 10% to all humans, as well as 10% to all divines. Other than that, we do get 40 souls if we use the Angry Mob in PvP and Explore. I would not really advise doing this. It would not really be that worth it. 40 souls is not a lot of souls. You can farm it quicker just using an actual soul farming team, and he naturally doesn't gain any souls. And other than that, we have the very simple, easy to do task of killing a bunch of browns in PvP and Explore. You'll pretty much automatically get that done just by doing standard PvP, though you could go to any kingdom that has a lot of browns if you really wanted to and explore there, though just doing normal PvP for the week would probably get that done with way more than enough. So, of course, as I mentioned, event keys, they are definitely worth opening. There is one specific troop that is decent that ended up coming in, but there's actually a couple of reasons why you would want to do it. The first, though, is, of course, the obvious one of the new troop that just got released yesterday, and that is the Holy Saint Astra. She gives a bunch of life and armor to all allies, creates a light storm, and then enchants all humans. From what I can tell so far, she is pretty average, unfortunately. It is a 50% mana start to all humans, as well as a 25% spell reduction, which both are pretty decent things to have. Unfortunately, not too many good human synergies out there that can really utilize her. Alchemist Moneylender is one of the more solid things that I've found so far. Other than that, you can kind of use things like Tesla and such to try to utilize her true damage. But other than that, there isn't too many things you can really get away with Holy Saint Astra's 50%. It might be a lot better in the future. Of course, any 50% mana start is pretty solid. We just need better human synergies within themselves, I feel, until it will actually become viable. The other big thing holding her back is she does not have any board control on her ability. So unlike a Divinity or something like that, it won't be infinitely looping. So that's a pretty big drawback that it has there. But one of the main reasons you might want to go open event keys, even if you don't really want any of that stuff, is to go and upgrade Whitehelm stars. It is currently possible to 14-star Whitehelm, which makes it by far the highest starred kingdom in the entire game. The next highest besides it, I believe, is currently at 12. And of course, barely anything's even above 10 at the moment. So definitely a good idea to possibly throw event keys even just to get this up. You won't be able to get past 10 unless you have Guard's Avatar. And everything from there is basically just based on how many level 20s you have within the kingdom, essentially. But yeah, definitely a lot of extra tribute. This is the best home kingdom in the game, even if you didn't have it as high on power. But with it being this high on power, it's even better. And even if you're not in late game trying for something like 14, you can still get very easy 5-star or very easy 10-star, both of which will give you additional armor. And while armor is the worst stat, it would still be good for things like Rowan, just to be able to do more damage, as well as just in general, that one armor might be enough to actually save save you and make sure that your troop doesn't die in a specific situation, since it lasts everywhere. So definitely worth considering using event keys this week, if nothing else, just to stock up on various Whitehelm troops. But next, let's go under the games. So we have several different events this week. Today we have the faction event for Hall of Guardians, which is pretty convenient, because Hall of Guardians does count as a Whitehelm. So all 4 of the troops that you would end up getting there from the seals, or from the shards, I mean, all go into your Whitehelm, so that's pretty nice. On Wednesday, we're getting one of the slightly newer pets. It's not a new pet, but it's one that came in 2 versions ago. It's the one for the colored bonus. On Thursday, we have another thing related to the kingdom itself. Basically everything related to the kingdom this week. Nice that they aligned it all. We have the Whitehelm event, which is a Whitehelm class. It used to be pretty good, but these days, after the Divines got pretty hard nerfed with Divinia going down to 40% bonus instead of 50% and stuff like that, it doesn't get used as much, but still really solid in a pure Divine team with Divine Protector, or really just any pure Divine team, even if you're not using Divine Protector. And other than that, we're getting a new faction this Friday. We're going to be getting it for Primal, and while it won't really be too useful to have those troops to upgraded, it is still going to be a new faction that will be able to get a bunch of stuff done in. So, Soulforge, before we go into teams. As far as the Soulforge this week, there is pretty much just, well, I guess 2 noteworthy things. The first one, and most obvious one, is the Ubastet. He is available. He is still one of the better options for Delves, especially if you don't already have any options. Still really good at cleaning up troops. I still use him for pet battles. Actually, that's actually the only thing I really use him for these days, now that I finished Delves and everything. But still really nice troop. Still gets that double kills. He has been nerfed pretty heavily. He was one of those things that got swept up in the Divine nerf not too long ago. But still, he's really solid, still really strong troop even after that nerf. And other than that, Dragon Soul. You were able to get a Dragon Soul off of event keys last week, but if you happen to have not gotten him, well, you have a whole another week to try to get him again. If you're a newer player, or really any player that doesn't have Dragon Souls, it is highly advised to go get this thing. It's 20 damage full AoE to all enemies every single time you cast. Regardless of when you get this, even if you're a brand new player and just pick this up, you're doing 20 damage to everything. All you have to do is just put 3 other dragons on your team, which should be really easy to do with low rarity, ultra rare, and below dragons, so that's not hard at all. But the main reason it's used for is it's a lot of explosions into a soul gain. It's one of the best soul farming troops in the entire game, aside from Fairish Ra, and it's generally used in the context of Fairish Ra's, even if once you get them. It's normally used with Dragon Soul, double Fairish Ra, and then some kind of mana accumulator in the back like Umbra Wolf. But you can also downgrade it all the way down to things like Dragon Soul Triple Warlock, Dragon Soul Triple Azurus, Dragon Soul Double Azurus Umbra Wolf, and other similar teams that end up accumulating a lot of souls. You can also just use it in the context of 4x Dragon teams, 3x Dragon teams, Mountain Crusher, Dragon Soul, and there's like a billion different combos that use this thing very well. It scales very well through the entire game, though it is particularly overpowered in early game, and then it kind of gets weaker as you progress, but still is a pretty solid option throughout the entire game. And they also buffed this thing not too long ago for a baby dragon summon, and it actually summons with full mana. If I'm not mistaken, it's the only thing in the game that has a trait that makes its summon actually summon with full mana. It would be actually pretty cool if more things came in with that. And that's basically that, unless you wanted Queen Aurora for Guild Wars. Actually, I guess I should mention this thing. It is mainly for Guild Wars, and that is actually a Guild War week this week. But if you need more assistance on a yellow, green, or purple Guild War day, Queen Aurora is not too bad. The ability itself is pretty underwhelming and just doing a little bit of life, a little bit of gem spawn, and a little bit of barrier that it does. But the main reason you use this is the extra mana that it does to all 6 colors. It's basically like a 6-colored mana link. Instead of just a single mana link where it just helps a single color, this is a mana link that helps all 6 of them, 1 for each. So that's a lot of extra mana to be accumulating every single time you take any mana from the board. And it's very useful for just getting things up quicker. And for any of these Guild War days, you would be able to get away with it if you were lacking options for any of those 3-color days. But anyways, let's head over to PvP and mess around with 2 teams. Oh no, that is Yagwe Queen Titania. But let's go all the way down. I think it was already on the team. No, we'll use the Tesla team first. So, Tesla team, is he using Titan? No, he's using Priests. Priests have barrier. Ideally, I want to do this against something that doesn't actually have barrier. He probably has barrier somewhere in that mess. But there's a possibility we'll fail. This is mainly just to show 2 kind of teams that could possibly work. And we got ourselves all the Thanksgiving skulls. But let's go and immediately convert with Tapon. That gives us all the red we need. And basically, we just cast Tesla about 2 to 3 times, depending on how much mana we actually need to win. So I took that just so he wouldn't get it. Let me actually get an armor buff here. He's about to do the... Oh, no! I'm going to have to waste this. I didn't want to have to do that, but he has a Tapon too, so I actually have to block Tapon with a Tapon. But let's go use this ability. That doesn't enchant herself. That's not really why we used it, though. Mainly just doing that to... Really? Stop doing that! Okay, we'll get that back up. Apparently, we're going for another buff. Well, at this point, we might be able to double Tesla, because we got so much armor buff off of that. It does HP too, though, of course, with what we're using right now. Armor is the more relevant aspect of it. And yes, we actually were able to double cast Tesla because of the extra bonus. So somehow we got 15 gems from something. But, yeah, that's basically what you use her for. Or one of the things that you could use her for, just into double Tesla. Assuming you could double cast, it's relatively quick, though if it takes triple cast or longer, it's going to be relatively slow. So do keep that in mind. But it does give extra armor off its ability if you need. It does give those enchants to the Teslas if you need. It's not the greatest of options, but it is something that you can use her for. Probably one of the more viable options is Alchemist, Moneylender. A damage source doesn't have to be Ward Breaker, but it has to be something that uses red and or yellow. That does a lot of damage. And then, of course, Holy Saint Astra. The whole point of her is to start Alchemist and Moneylender with half mana. Out of all of the single target converts that can target a single color of choice into any color, or not into any color, but into a specific color, Alchemist actually has the highest mana for this now. It used to be Valkyrie at 5, but then they nerfed it down to 4 when Divines got nerfed to 40% instead of 50. But Alchemist can get 50% still, which will allow him to only require 5 mana. Of course, requiring 6 mana compared to 5 mana isn't really that big of a difference, but the fact that he does have extra red onto his ability makes it even easier to be able to get him, basically making him the quickest of the 6 converters to be able to get up. There's also Apothecary that starts with half, but it doesn't have a linkage to its own color, making it slightly slower than what Alchemist can do in some situations. But basically, it's just a standard Alchemist Moneylender team, essentially just with a slight mana start for those sticky situations where you just want to get up in one single turn instead of maybe multiple. But let's go get that down, get all the manas we need, and basically just keep spamming whatever our damage source is, in this case, Ward Breaker. Can be anything. Ward Breaker is just nice because it keeps looping its mana right back, and it clears the board in case we don't have alignment for something. So if we didn't have Alchemist, we could just go right into the cast right there. But we'll get that down, get the Moneylender, clear the board, and basically just keep repeating that until we win. And he'll do that. Oh, don't kill our damage source. We need that. Oh, he got a submerge there. That'll be slightly in our way. Slightly in our way, as in we would have just won if he didn't have that. So very in our way, apparently. But, oh yeah, he keeps submerging after that, too. I guess we'll just have to skull him twice. That's not too bad, though. Let's see. Move that over. Take that. Actually, you know what? Sword Breaker him again. Because we could probably Cascade this mighty Skull we need to kill him. Obviously, our AoE doesn't do anything. But, come on, Skull. Where are you? That'd be sad if you won this. With Submerge. Oh, wait, no. He dropped his barrier. We can go kill him now. There we go. Or not barrier, his Submerge. Because he took a Skull there. But anyways, that is that. As far as the 2 new troops, yeah, they're pretty underwhelming. They have their purposes, but I personally won't be using either really that much. It's nice to see them around. If nothing else, they're going to be good for the Whitehelm bonuses. Definitely highly advised to go and get that up, just because it's now the easiest kingdom to upgrade in the entire game, given that it's capable of reaching 14 stars now. So even if you can't reach that far, get it to 5 star, get it to 10 star, and if you want, go get even higher. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for now. Hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving when it rolls around, and Black Friday and all of that. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and yeah, new faction this Friday. I will be covering all of that, and I will see you all soon. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them below, and goodbye, everyone!